Welcome, everybody. My name is Katie Jones, and I want to thank you all for joining us today on a day in the life of a successful voiceover talent. We've got Madison Brunoehler here with us today. And
Hi, guys.
to get us started, Madison and I are going to chat just for a couple minutes here about her background, get some information on her so that we're all on the same page. But this webinar really is for all of you talent. So as we're talking, feel free to ask questions in the question and answer box below, and I'll pass them along once we're done here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be really fun.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself to get started?
So, like I said, my name is Madison Brunoehler, also known as Maddie to the Max. I'm a YouTuber and a voice actress, and I think what I do on my YouTube channel is I do impressions and live action recreations, which has been really instrumental in allowing me to also be a voiceover actress.
Awesome. So what's a typical day like for you?
A typical day is I wake up at 7, I start looking at auditions. I do auditions until about 9, maybe 10 o'clock. I have a goal set every day for how many auditions I want to get, and hopefully I get that. If not, then I'm doing more auditions throughout the day, and then I'm usually either editing or filming or prepping a script for my next audition, or if I have an event that I'm going to, I'm prepping for that or scheduling classes that I'm also doing. So it's a really busy, hectic, fun life. And that's my day.
Awesome. So what made you want to get started with voices.com?
I have always been making funny voices since I was about 5 years old. Started with coming back from seeing Lilo and Stitch in theaters, and I'm immediately starting to do the Stitch voice, which is always super fun. So I started doing that, and I've always been just making funny voices. And when I had the realization, I want to be an actor, it was really great. And then I was like, I love to make my voice do funny things. I really need to be a voice actor. And I actually had a friend and a mentor who was like, you need to be on voices.com. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out, set up the page. I was like, okay, so now what? And she's like, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to do this, and you need to make sure you have this set up, and you need to have it this way. You need to make sure. So she made sure that all my stuff was properly set up. And when I started, I hit the ground running with voices.com and just immediately started booking things.
Awesome. That's great to hear. How did you come up, or how did you find Maddie to the Max?
That was actually the actual name.
Yeah.
That was actually my aunt. My aunt, who was brilliant at making names and parodies and puns and stuff. She's so funny. And so when I first said, okay, I want to do a YouTube channel, we went to her and was like, what are some names that we can do? And she threw out a whole bunch of names, and I really liked Maddie to the Max because it was like, it's me to the max, and it has the number 2, and just, I love those kind of play on word puns number things. So I was like, that's the one I want to go with. I'm going with Maddie to the Max because it really felt like it encompassed me and who I am.
Of course, I like it.
Yeah.
So did you have any training before you got started?
I did. I had a lot of improv training actually at the Acting Center here in LA, with like some of the big name improv people, but also Jim Meskimen, who is the voice of Ultron in Avengers: Age of Ultron, not the movie, the animated show. So I've worked with him a lot. I've done a lot of seminars and workshops and classes to do voiceover work, but it's not like that's all I do all the time. It's like, this is a very specific thing that I want to know. I want to specifically know what I need to know for commercial work. And I found a really highly recommended class for that. And it was just like, this is perfect. So doing very specific classes.
It definitely sounds like it helped you be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you agree that it had a big part in your role of being so successful?
I think so. I mean, it was definitely, I wasn't just going in blind. I was going in, this is when they say we want a girl next door sounding voice, this is what they mean. When they say warm and friendly, this is what they mean, especially for commercial work, because animation work, I got back down cold because of my YouTube channel, because of my impressions. It's like, I can do crazy characters all day long. I can sound like your old grandma, and I can sound like a little baby. I can do that all the time. It was really commercial stuff that I was like, how do you just sound normal? What is that? So really getting to know that it's a nice, calm, friendly voice. I am your friend that is going to help you thing. That was very, very useful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what kind of equipment do you have in your studio right now?
I actually have 2 different mics. The one that I mainly use for recording jobs and stuff is a Blue Yeti and a pop filter, which I love. I found it very, not inexpensive, but very cost effective, where I wasn't breaking the bank, but I was still getting good quality material. And then for out and about recordings, like if I get an audition while I'm out and about in the car, I have an Apogee mic and I have this eyeball that I put on top of it so it gets a nice cleaner sound in the car.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you have any different equipment when you first started, or did you just progress to all of that?
Oh, I mean, when I first started on Voices, I already had this the Yeti because I had been using this for my channel for so long. So when I progressed on my channel, it was like, okay, I already have all this sound equipment to go into voices.com. I did invest in the Apogee and the eyeball because it was like, okay, I'm really getting auditions when I'm going out and doing stuff, and I need to make sure that I can do them like that. So yeah.
Perfect. So when it comes to demos, how many do you have on your voices.com profile right now?
I think I have like 7 or 8, but I'm actually wanting to completely redo all of them. I'm wanting to get even more specific. Because the more specific you can get with your demos, because that's what the algorithm of voices.com looks at.
Exactly.
They look at, here's what you say you have in your demos. So I'm trying to get even more specific because I have the commercial and the radio and the animation and the all these other things. And I really wanting to get into the very specific, like this is an accent video, this is a Russian accent video, this is a British accent video, and just getting even more specific. Because the more specific you can get, the better off you are.
Exactly. It's just going to help your voice match score, right? So definitely a big benefit to that. Did you have a lot?
And definitely not being afraid to go and take them down and then put up entirely new ones.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's set in stone. You can always update it. That's definitely a
I mean, I know that you lose those views on them, but it's like that doesn't matter. More views will come. That's fine. The views are great, but it's actually kind of good when you have like fresher, newer stuff. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. So how many auditions do you do a day?
I do somewhere between 10 and 20 auditions a day currently. That number will probably go up in the future because I keep, like I said, I keep a statistic of how many I want to get done a day because I keep a weekly statistic of how many I'm getting done a week because I'm always trying to go above the number that I did the previous week. Like last week I did 88, so this week I'm trying to do 89 auditions. I'm trying to just do at least one better, if not more. If I can get even more, great, but at least one better because I have found that if things either get better or worse. And so you can either control it and make it a little bit better, or it just kind of starts to gradually get worse. So I positively make it at least one better.
Exactly. That's a good thing.
Like nothing is worse than just that straight line of you've been doing the same number this entire time. It's like, that's bad. That's dangerous. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Then it'll start to just kind of tilt.
For sure. So how long would you say that you spend on each audition?
Ideally, it's 5 minutes. It usually tends to be something more like 5 to 10 minutes is something in there because I know I can get about 10 to 7 auditions done an hour. So any more than 10 minutes, it's like, this is ridiculous. This is too much. I shouldn't be doing this audition. It's taking up too much time. Move on.
Perfect.
Unless it's something where it's like, this is a role that I really want. Like, oh my gosh, I want this character role. I want this. So then I'll put in a lot of prep work beforehand, doing a lot of researching and like, what does this character sound like, where they're supposed to be from, the age, and doing all that kind of stuff beforehand. When it's something that's like, I want this. I'm passionate about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. So how many jobs have you booked so far with voices.com?
I want to say 20, low 20s, I think. And that's been in the 10, 11 weeks that I've been doing this.
Wow.
So it's been very, very, very successful for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And if you don't mind me asking, how much money have you made?
That is a private number that I like to keep to myself.
Not a problem at all.
Finances is just something that I don't like to spread out there.
Yeah.
It is an excellent number. I will tell you that.
Good. That's good. It sounds like you're pretty happy with it. So
yeah,
that's
I'm very
what matters.
happy with it.
Perfect. So I do have a question.
Yes.
We've got from Carlos here. He says, thank you so much for doing the webinar. His question is, out of those 10 to 20 auditions a day, usually how many do you get hired for? What's your average conversion rate?
It's about 30 auditions to one job booked for me. I have been known to book 3 jobs in a day, and but they tend to be from things that I've done sporadically. Like I'll have things that I booked to an audition 2 weeks ago, and then I'll have ones that I've auditioned for that day and I get them. So it's like they can all like come in one day, but I did them on separate days. So it's very sporadic, but I know somewhere between 30 and 40 auditions per job I book.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if anyone else has any questions that they'd like to ask Madison while she's here.
Please ask questions. I have lots of knowledge to give.
Perfect. So we've got 2 more here. One from Blake. Have you had jobs in which you submit an audition by the job's deadline and the job gets stuck in the deciding area?
Like having it just sit there forever.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we're still deciding. There's still things that I've auditioned for months ago and it's like, they're still deciding. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I've never booked them and they've had them be like, okay, we're hiring you for the job and now wait.
Yeah.
And wait. Like by the time that they've now hired me, it's like they've decided it's me. So I've never had it just sitting there for that. But other things, it's like that's why you do so many. You do so many so that you're not just sitting there going, I have this one audition. I hope I get this one audition. It's put it out there and like forget about it. I have had it where it's like I have auditioned for stuff and then it's like, you have booked this job. And I'm like, great. What was it again? Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, I remember that now. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're doing so many that you're not putting your attention on just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
From Kelly, we've got, do you have any advice on what I should put in demos?
Do your strongest stuff for sure, because you got maybe about 10 seconds of what they will listen to, especially for a demo. And that's why getting very specific with your demos, because if you got 10 seconds and they're looking for the specific thing that you have and 30 seconds in, they're not going to get that far. So if you can be very specific, keep them very short, like max 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Maybe, I know I have some that are a minute, but like ideally 30 seconds and it's just 1, 2, 3, boom, you're done. And then do very specific tiny little demos. So you're just easily getting them out there. And you do like a kid demo, do a commercial demo, do all the different sounding voices that you can do, and just have them be very simple so that when they're asking, we need a British accent that sounds like a child, you're like, this is right here. There you go. It's the first one. And you have their attention.
Perfect.
And most of the time when they are asking for auditions on voices, like sometimes they'll be like, just submit a generic demo that you have. And it's like, okay, great, here you go. But then a lot of times they're just like, we want you to submit a demo of the script here. So sometimes when they have those that are like, we want a very generic demo, it's like, great, I know that you're probably going to listen to these, have them be very specific and just getting them. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Question from Julie. How long from when you upgraded until you booked your first job?
From when I upgraded on my equipment or on
I think she
started
means the
voices.com.
membership, yeah.
The very first thing I submitted for, I actually booked.
Amazing.
Which was such a well, clearly this works. Clearly this works if I have submitted my first thing and I booked that. So it took I think I booked it the same day. I think I actually have it here written down.
That's awesome. That was the next question.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the same day.
Wow. Do you remember what the job was?
I do. It was for Menchie's frozen yogurt.
Oh, cool.
Which made me just love them all the more.
Right?
No, I really love this company.
That's awesome. Question from Gil. Without disclosing personal figures, what is the average pay for an announcing gig?
For an announcing gig?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would really depend on the word. Like if it's 150 words, it's okay, that can be $25 to maybe $500. But if it's 5,000 words is like, that's going to be a much, much higher number.
Yeah.
Because you're putting in a lot more work for that. And it should be equal to that in the, okay, I'm going to be spending 16 hours on this job. I would feel validated if I was getting this figure for that. Yes, that would be worth it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
How long did it take to break even with the yearly subscription that you paid for?
I think like 2 jobs.
Wow.
I mean, that was one of the things that my mentor said when she said to join this is like, you book 1, maybe 2 good jobs, you've already paid for it. It's done. There you go. It's not even an issue. I already have the money set aside for when it comes back up again. It's so simple. It's so easy. And it's absolutely worth it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Given your volume of auditions, do you ever find yourself following up on jobs perhaps that are really desirable to you? If so, what are your best practices?
Following up like, I'm going back and I'm looking at them again.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, well, I'll go in and I'll look at the list where it says answered job, and I'll go and I'll look at them like if it was like, oh, there was that one job for a mermaid. I really want to see if I still have a shot at that. I'll go and I'll look at that, and it'll say next to it if they're still deciding or hiring or if they've already chosen it. And I will go and I'll look at those and be like, okay, if they're still in deciding, then I'm like, I could still have a shot. But if it's like in the, okay, we've decided, it's like, okay, moving on with that now that that's gone.
Perfect.
I do like to see, go in there and look at how many thumbs up I've gotten, because to me, I think of that as like getting a callback because people will then listen to it again. So I really like looking at those and being like, yeah, I got 6 thumbs up this week. Woo! It's like a fun little game.
It would be. Yeah. It's encouraging, right?
Absolutely. It's people saying, we like you.
Yeah. Everybody.
Who doesn't like that?
Exactly. Question from Sarah. Do all of your auditions come from voices.com? Do you have an agency or have any other means for doing your auditions?
I do have a few, like there's like Casting Frontier and stuff that have a couple of them. And a lot of them go through my manager who then sends them to me. But mainly voices.com. I love voices.com. They are just so quick, simple, easy, and reliable that it's like nothing else has gotten me as much success as voices.com. I've had some things where I've knew friends and friends of friends who have forwarded me on to stuff which have been successful, but again, that's the industry. That's who you know, who can say your name. And with voices.com, it like cuts out the middleman and being like, here, directly what I need to do. This is what I'm good at. So I think voices.com is absolutely the way to go.
Awesome. So next question, do you have any professionally produced demos? Is it a necessity to have one to book on voices.com?
I have one professionally produced demo that I actually then took and tweaked some more to where I liked it because the music that they put in underneath it was too loud. And I was like, I can't hear what I'm saying. I need to go and take that out and do some myself because I do all the editing on my YouTube channel. I can do that. And it was so simple for me to do that. But all my other ones I've edited because I have the skills to do it and it's way cheaper. And I mean, if you have a good sounding mic, if you have good, clean sound, I think it's absolutely worth it to do it yourself. First of all, then you then have that skill that you can then do, which you can then offer to other people that need that skill. So it's multi-purposeful there.
It is. Perfect. And kind of a follow-up to that question, Kenny asks, what percentage of jobs do you do produce yourself at home versus going into an actual studio?
I've had a couple where I've gone into an actual studio where they're like, okay, we want you in a studio for this. We want you there. A lot of the times I'll have them over Skype or on a phone patch so they can hear what I'm saying. But a lot of it is in my own personal studio. And then they just connect with me via those ways.
Perfect. What software are you using to post-produce your demos?
I use Audacity. It's really high quality and it's free. So I love it. I know GarageBand is also pretty good too, but for that you actually have to pay a figure. I am definitely of the go to yard sales and get the good thing for cheap rather than go to the mall and buy the expensive thing that is not working.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I've got another one here, and I know we slightly touched on it earlier, but for those who weren't able to hear, what is your home studio setup like?
My home studio is, I have this packing blanket here, and I also have foam up on the walls that then muffles a lot of the sound. And it's about an 8x8 space, so it's pretty well insulated, so there's not a lot of sound bouncing all over the place. And then I have some things hanging up to catch that sound.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when you submit your auditions, do you do a lot of editing on all of them, or do you just provide the raw read?
I tend to do editing on them for auditions. Like I said, you got 10 seconds. Why use those 10 seconds on empty space or breathing? Just I go in and I take out all the unwanted space. They're just interested in your voice, not the sound of your room.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What kind of jobs do you see the most of, and what ones do you like to do the most?
There's a lot of commercial stuff for innovators. There's a lot of definite stuff for like, we need innovators for the future. By 2020, things are going to be great. And it's like, yeah, I like doing those. Those ones are really fun. My favorite ones are the animated kids ones. I love those. I love doing funny voices where you can do all sorts of fun things and the fun accents and all the fun, cool stuff that you can do when you're an animated show, which is always lots of fun. And that's what I definitely like doing. But I know the commercial voice now, so I do a lot of the commercial voice. I have that very upbeat, happy sounding voice that they're always looking for and stuff. So I get that a lot.
Oh, I bet. We've got one here. How can I get more auditions?
Fill out your demos and your description of yourself more, because that's what the analytic looks like, and that's what it looks at to know what stuff it should send it. So the more you can fill that out, the more detailed and the more descriptive you can get, the better off you will get and get more stuff.
Great. Do you do any breathing exercises before your auditions?
I do vocal warm-ups. I definitely, especially in the morning, I'll do things like or Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Just things to wake it, or singing, like definitely singing, because that moves your entire face. And whatever Broadway song pops into my head, I'll just belt that for a minute.
That's awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
What kind of microphone are you using?
This is a Blue Yeti microphone.
And what is the best tip you have for someone that's new to voiceovers and also new to voices.com?
Practice a lot. Like practice and get comfortable with the sound of your own voice. Like take your cell phone and just record yourself and just listen to yourself back, because I know it's super uncomfortable the first time you're listening to yourself, because you're just like, that's not my voice. Right? What is that? So you got to get comfortable with what you sound like to other people, because that is what they hear, not what is in your head is not what they hear. So you got to get comfortable with that, and you have to know what you sound like to other people. And then just practice things that you think you can't do, and then you'll get better at them. Practice things that you're really good at and get even more better at those. Find voices that you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's voice, what does it sound like? The number of times I'm in a movie and someone has a really fun voice, I'm like, that fun voice, and I'll start saying the lines back to them as they're saying it.
And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's kind of annoying to people in the theater next to me, though, because they're just like, shut up. And I'm like, sorry, it's a really fun voice.
Yeah, it's just a habit. It just happens. Which filter are you using on your Blue Yeti mic?
This is a pop filter from Dragon Pod. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. It's really good, easily adjustable. It attaches to the mic stand. It's perfect.
Awesome. Nice and easy to use.
Yep.
Great. One more from Julie. How did you know that you wanted to sign up for voices.com?
Well, like I said, my mentor was like, you need to do this. And me and my manager had been looking at it for a while and being like, well, shouldn't we? I don't know. I mean, we're getting some stuff from LA Casting and Casting Frontier. But then the more that I looked at it, and then I had the mentor that was just like, you need to do this. You are wanting to do voiceover work, do this. You have to do this. So that was definitely the push that I needed to get started on voices.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we touched on this slightly before, but I have a question. how long does it take you to do an audition from start to finish?
About 5 to 10 minutes. Nothing hardcore. Sometimes for the auditions, they'll have like really long scripts, and I'll take like the best chunk of them or the thing that says their name, because that's what they really want to hear, or their tagline. And I'll say that because I'm not doing the whole script for the audition. That's not what the audition's for. The audition is for them to hear my voice and know if they want it or not. If they hire me, then yeah, I'll do the full script. But anything more than 5 minutes is just not a good idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you market yourself in any other ways besides on voices.com?
Well, I have a rather large YouTube and Facebook and Instagram following. And a lot of that stuff is like, I'll either be promoting my next video or my new video, or I'll be promoting, hey, I'm doing voiceover work. And if you want to do that, contact me, or something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How many hours a day would you say that you spend on doing demos and auditioning?
Like 7 hours, I think, because some of it is audition for this, but then some of it is for my YouTube channel, which I'm editing all the time on. So a lot of my time is taken up with that too. So it's a huge part of my life. Like if I don't have something to edit, it's really funny. If I'm not editing something, I'm like, I should be editing something right now. Why aren't I editing something? There's nothing to edit. I need something to edit. So then I'll tend to go and go, I'll edit a new demo. Yeah, that sounds good.
Keeps you busy.
It keeps me busy.
Perfect. Next question is, what would you recommend using to get a noiseless and a clean sounding recording?
Definitely. Well, for mic-wise, definitely having a Blue Yeti would be really good. If you can find a small enough space. Closets sometimes work, depending on the size. I know a lot of people use their closets because they have all that natural padding in there from their clothes, which is really good. But if you don't have something like that, finding like a corner and like an empty corner and like putting up some padding right there, and then having something like a folding thing that you can put up right behind you and cover that with even more foam, that's really good, because then it just gives this nice little box here and you don't have a lot of echoing happening. I know some people, they hang like really thick blankets from the ceiling and just are in that, which really works for them.
I've heard that a lot as well with the blankets on the walls and the ceilings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So question from Sarah, did you just figure out how to use Audacity on your own, or did you have any type of training?
A lot of it was self-taught. I mean, there's YouTube tutorials. Like I had a friend suggest Audacity, so that's when I went and I got it. And I was like, I have no idea how to use this. I'm assuming this red button means record. And then there was, okay, how do I do this? Audacity 101 videos, which I watched on YouTube, that's the best purpose of YouTube, is to go, I don't know how to do this thing. Here, teach me, YouTube. And they do.
Exactly. It's pretty useful.
It's really good.
Perfect. So I've got another one here. Do you have any formal education in announcing?
In what?
In announcing. Or sometimes
in announcing?
Yeah, or broadcasting.
A little bit. I was part of a talk show for a good couple of months there, where we talked about Marvel and all things Marvel related for a while there. So it was a lot of getting comfortable with that and getting comfortable with my own opinions and telling people my own opinions, which was very good. And really projecting a lot of those things. Because yes, you have a mic, but also you still gotta put your voice out there and get that communication to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Question from Gil. Does Audacity work as a mixer, or do you just record straight into your computer?
I record straight into my computer, and then I will bring it into Premiere Pro if I'm wanting to layer it or do effects on it. I do robot effects sometimes for my videos, or deepening it in Audacity, which is really good, and then I'll bring it into Premiere. But most of the time, if I'm wanting to do multiple layers of audio, I'll record it in Audacity and then bring it into Premiere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it looks like everyone's questions were answered here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I hope everyone got a lot of information. So I do want to thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And Madison, I want to thank you as well for giving everyone your advice.
Yeah, totally. And if you guys want to see more from me, please check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maddie to the max. It's MADI, the number 2, the max.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Take
Good
care.
talking with you guys.